Obsessed. This is one of the most disturbing videos I've ever seen. I've held off on talking about it until now, not because I wanted to ignore it, but because the content is so deeply unsettling and uncomfortable. Still, I think it's important to shed light on how far some creators have gone unnoticed on platforms like YouTube. It all started with a channel called 00390, which had gained a reputation for disturbing videos that showed the person behind the camera stalking women in public. Unfortunately, there's been no major news or updates about that channel since. But while I was looking into it, I came across another channel that was just as concerning, maybe even more so. This one is called Dan Silly, run by a man who goes by that exact name. From the moment you land on his channel, it's obvious something is seriously wrong. His very first video is a 3.5-hour upload with a chilling title, "I Will Grab Woman Soon." The video begins with Dan walking the streets of Los Angeles, holding a camera and filming random women without their consent. At one point, he says,
There's a woman up here that's like 30 something, 32 or more. Or trying to speed up so I can get an image. Turn it into a narrow, not wide, I mean, that's the catch, right? Just sitting by herself. I could have said, hey, she just looked Asian. An over chubby Asian, I mean.
Throughout the video, he openly judges and critiques the women he films, ranking them, mocking their looks, and objectifying them with no shame. While technically not illegal, the behavior is undeniably creepy. But it doesn't stop there. As the video goes on, Dan launches into rants about how, in his view, society is too safe for women. He claims women face no consequences and argues that he's been unfairly denied the love and attention he thinks he deserves. His words grow darker by the minute. At one point he says,
The place is too safe with police. In other countries, it's way less safe. In order to get a bodyguard man, that will protect you, you need to be a good woman. You need to act well. But in here the women don't need to act well, so therefore they're disgusting. They're not good women.
The most disturbing part of it all isn't even in the footage. It's in the video description. Below the upload, Dan wrote a long, deeply troubling monologue outlining his twisted views on women, relationships, and what he believes he's entitled to. It begins with the line, "I'm going to grab woman. Don't you want to grab them? Squeeze them? I'm going to grab them, but only if they want me to." He goes on to complain about asking for consent, saying it's annoying to have to ask, and that not asking could get him arrested if a woman says no. Then, he lists a strange and disturbing set of rules for any woman he might be in a relationship with. Dan outlines a bizarre and deeply troubling list of demands for the woman he wants to be with. According to him, she must not drink caffeine, eat dairy or wheat, use social media, and must be willing to get pregnant. But what truly sends chills down your spine is the way he ends his rant, with a horrifying statement. "I will have live footage shortly of me causing women to feel very high amounts of pleasure. I will show you exactly what you need to do in order to achieve a similar result as mine." This video alone makes it clear that Dan's views on women aren't just problematic, they're dangerous. He's not just objectifying strangers, he's voicing disturbing sexual fantasies while openly admitting that his behavior could land him in jail. In another clip, he says,
I'm looking around, looking for what I want. I'm shopping for what I want to do. I'm shopping for food. I'm shopping for sex, okay? This is not bad, wise.
And somehow, it gets worse.
Hi. Why are you ignoring me? Why exactly are you being, tired of being sexualized? Isn't it good to, be valued for something?
He continues filming himself walking up to random women on the street, usually with the camera already recording, and attempts to strike up conversations. But these aren't normal social interactions. The women clearly look uncomfortable. Many try to walk away. Some firmly reject him. Still, Dan pushes on, ignoring their responses. In one clip, he says, "Hi, I like you. I saw you over there and I want to kiss you." Their reactions are quick. Most women look confused, anxious, or flat out disturbed. One woman confronts him.
You think I can't run or something? Hi, how's it going? How are you? Okay. Why not?
Because we don't give you consent.
You don't have to. I mean, I don't need consent. Right? That's a myth.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Security?
Continues following them,
women,
completely ignoring their boundaries.
He acts as
He
if he's
seems
entitled to
unable
their attention,
or
and if they don't respond
unwilling
the way he wants,
to
he gets
understand
defensive
that
or
his
dismissive.
attention is
What's most
unwelcome.
disturbing is that
And over the
several hours
course of
content,
several
a very
hours
clear
of
pattern starts to
content,
emerge.
a disturbing
camera
pattern
often lingers
begins
on
to
women's
emerge.
bodies, lingers on
Dan's
women's
camera
bodies,
lingers
frequently
on the
zooming in on
women's
private areas.
bodies,
The filming
often
is
zooming
voyeuristic,
in on
predatory,
private
and
areas.
incredibly invasive.
The film
What makes this even more disturbing is that some of the girls Dan films seem to be underage. In fact, many of them look much younger than 18, while Dan himself is in his 30s. A lot of viewers have pointed this out in the comments. One comment even said, "You should make sure they're over 18. A lot of the girls you've been approaching look like kids, dude." At first, you might think the videos are fake or exaggerated, but the truth is much worse than that. It's real, and it's more disturbing than anyone expected.
I don't think he could be supervised 24 hours a day.
Daniel Patrick Silly is a high-risk sex offender who has moved to Roanoke Park.
Daniel Patrick Silly is a high-risk sex offender who recently moved to Ron Park. This isn't just a rumor. He's officially registered. In 2017, he was arrested for sexually harassing a minor. That's a confirmed part of his past, and knowing this makes everything about his videos even more concerning. After his arrest, things went quiet for a while. His original channel stopped posting, and many people thought he had disappeared for good. But sadly, that wasn't the case. After his release, Dan came back online, this time with 2 new YouTube channels. And the content he's uploading now might be even more disturbing than before. Some of the titles on his new videos include 15-year-old white girls serve me food and all look me in the eyes, marriage material, I saw 14-year-olds fooling around, and even how to marry a 14-year-old girl. These videos are all public on YouTube, and they're being uploaded by someone who has already been convicted of sexually targeting a minor. It's one of the darkest rabbit holes I've ever gone down. It raises serious and uncomfortable questions about how content like this continues to go unnoticed, and how it's allowed to stay online.
Because I literally do feel like freaking like destroying these women when I accost them. My reptilian brain literally feels like attacking these women, just strangling them and stuff. Honestly, and making them submit to me. I feel like these women seriously,
Dan may be suffering from a mental illness. That's not an excuse. It doesn't make what he's doing okay. But it's something we need to keep in mind. Attacking him online, leaving hateful comments, or trying to provoke him won't help. In fact, it could make things even worse by encouraging him to spiral further. It's scary to see just how far people can go with their thoughts and behavior. But it also makes you think, imagine living in a country where simply sharing your opinion could get you erased. That's the kind of chilling reality this situation hints at. The channel we're looking into today shows just how deep and disturbing this rabbit hole really goes. Oasis of the Seas. Since 2015, cruise ships have become more than just vacation getaways. They're like floating cities, complete with restaurants, spas, casinos, pools, and thousands of people all traveling together across the ocean. Most trips are fun and relaxing, but sometimes things take a darker turn. In early November of that year, a woman and her husband boarded the Oasis of the Seas to celebrate their anniversary. It was supposed to be a peaceful cruise through the Caribbean. And for a few days, it was just that. Clear skies, beautiful water, relaxing spa visits, and cocktails by the pool. It was the kind of trip designed to help you forget about everyday life. But everything changed around 1 a.m. on Friday, November 6th. Without warning, the huge ship came to a sudden stop in the middle of the ocean. Minutes later, it began slowly circling in place.
Most passengers were asleep, but by sunrise, whispers had already spread from balcony to balcony. Someone had fallen overboard, and it had all been caught on camera. The footage was intense. In the video, people are shouting, trying to help, and begging others to stay calm.
Stop yelling! Let them work!
You don't touch me! Because of you this happened, because I stepped out the door. Let go until he's on board. Until he's on board, I'm not going anywhere. Let go of me! I'm not going anywhere until he's on board.
Watch. He's there! He's there! Stop! Get the life back! Get the life thing! Throw it over! Throw it over!
A young man had climbed over the railing of his own balcony and stepped onto the roof of a lifeboat, reportedly after an argument with someone in his room. Ship security spotted him on surveillance cameras and rushed to help, but by the time they got there, he had already disappeared into the dark ocean. No one saw him again. When the sun came up, everything on board felt different. The laughter, music, and carefree atmosphere were gone. People stood in quiet groups looking out at the endless water, hoping to see something, anything. But there was nothing. Later, Coast Guard boats arrived to help search. Still, they found no sign of him. No body, no clothing, just open sea. At that point, no one knew exactly what had happened. Some believed he was drunk. Others thought he may have jumped on purpose. But one thing was certain. He was gone, and he wasn't coming back. And yet, things took an even darker turn shortly after the incident. At first, cruise officials claimed the man, Bernardo Elbaz, had jumped from his balcony on his own, following a domestic dispute. But his family didn't believe that for a second. According to their attorney, Michael Winkleman, Elbaz and his husband had been targeted with homophobic slurs by crew members throughout the trip. That night, tensions allegedly boiled over during a heated exchange with staff. After the incident, the Broward Sheriff's Office launched an investigation. Their conclusion? Elbaz had intentionally jumped. Royal Caribbean backed this claim, stating that their crew acted appropriately and that there had been no physical altercation. But Elbaz's family continued to speak out. They insisted that the discrimination he faced played a role in his death. They believed the emotional toll of the verbal abuse from the crew pushed him over the edge. To this day, Elbaz's body has never been recovered. His story, like so many others lost at sea, remains unresolved, floating quietly beneath the surface with more questions than answers. If that story surprised you, the next one may leave you speechless. Fire at Lame Horse Club. It happened in Perm, Russia, during a party to celebrate the nightclub's 8th anniversary. The venue wasn't very big, around 5,000 square feet, but that night it was packed with over 300 people. Everyone was there to have a good time. A cameraman and interviewer had been invited to film the event. They strolled around the club, chatting with people and capturing the fun atmosphere. Spirits were high. The night had only just begun, and the energy inside the club was electric. After a few light interviews, the camera turned toward the dance floor. The crowd was lively, and the MC was keeping things upbeat by joking with two young women at the bar. Everything seemed normal, just another fun night. But then, something strange happened. In the background of the shot, a woman off to the right turned her head sharply. Her eyes locked on something behind her. She looked confused and concerned. The cameraman noticed her expression and slowly moved the camera to follow her line of sight. That's when it became clear. Something was wrong.
Up
Замечательно. Очень люблю женщин, которые созрели. Зрелые, красивые, желанные, обаятельные. Дамы и господа!
near the ceiling, a small spark from a pyrotechnic display had touched some dry decorative branches added for the event. In just seconds, that little spark became a flame. At first, no one really understood what was going on. People stood still, unsure of what to make of it. Then the MC shouted over the loudspeakers, "Ladies and gentlemen, guests of the club, we are on fire. Please leave the hall." That's when panic set in. Everyone rushed toward the exits, but things got worse very quickly.
Выходим из зала. Соблюдаем.
According to the club's layout, there were two exits, the main door and another one hidden behind the stage. The problem? That second exit wasn't marked, and hardly anyone knew it was there. So almost all 300 guests ran for the front door at the same time. Smoke had already started to fill the air, and visibility was dropping fast. The single main exit became completely overwhelmed. People were pushing and shoving, all trying to escape. The doorway turned into a deadly bottleneck. It didn't take long before people were crushed in the chaos. What started as a night of celebration ended in tragedy. Fast. The fire. Part 2. People were crushed together with no space to move. As more and more tried to push their way through the single exit, the situation only got worse. Those still stuck on the dance floor were lost in the thick, black smoke. Many couldn't see or breathe. Then, in the middle of the chaos, the camera feed suddenly cut out. It wasn't until several minutes later that the footage returned. The cameraman, along with a few others, had managed to escape. Now outside, he was filming from the street, capturing scenes of panic as people stumbled out into the cold night. That's when the most heartbreaking detail came to light. According to those who survived, no fire trucks or ambulances showed up for almost 20 minutes. One survivor remembered, "After I got out, there were no firemen or emergency workers, just 2 ambulances. They took 6 or 7 people and drove off. I didn't see any others." Firefighters eventually arrived and began pulling people from the building. Many of the victims were half-dressed, severely burned, and in shock. They were laid down on the freezing ground, bare pavement in minus 16 degrees Celsius weather. No blankets, no medical help, no one comforting them. They just lay there for over an hour. Some of the survivors may have died from the cold alone. To this day, no one knows exactly how many lives were lost, simply because help didn't arrive in time. But it's widely believed that many could have been saved if emergency services had acted faster. In the end, 156 people died, 101 at the scene, and another 55 later in the hospital. It became the deadliest fire in modern Russian history. The footage from that night is among the most disturbing ever recorded. But 2 moments stand out most clearly. The calm, alert look from the woman who first noticed the danger, and that single spark on the ceiling that turned into a firestorm, taking more than 100 lives.